Captain Ryan Brooks stared at the view screen as his ship drifted helplessly in space. The engines were dead. Life support was running on backup power. Whatever had hit them came without warning, like an invisible wall that shut down every system in seconds. "Status report," Ryan said, keeping his voice calm even though his heart was racing. Commander Lisa Grant looked up from her console, her face tight with worry. "All main systems are offline. We're locked in place by some kind of energy field. I've never seen anything like this." Dr. Ben Carter pushed his glasses up his nose and studied the readings. "It's not hostile." "Exactly. More like a barrier. Something is keeping us here, but not hurting us." Ryan nodded slowly. The horizon had been following strange energy signals for 3 weeks, pushing deeper into unexplored space than any human ship had gone before. They knew they might find something out here. They just didn't expect to be caught like mice in a trap. "Try broadcasting on all frequencies," Ryan ordered. "Tell whoever is listening that we come in peace." Lisa hesitated. "Sir, we don't know what's out there. This could be a defense system. Broadcasting might make things worse. Or it might save our lives," Ryan replied. He stood up and walked closer to the view screen, looking out at the stars. "If someone put up this barrier, they're watching us right now. They're waiting to see what we do. We can either panic and try to fight our way out, or we can show them we're not a threat." Lisa didn't look convinced, but she followed orders. Her fingers moved across the controls, sending out a simple message in every language and format they had. "We are explorers from Earth. We mean no harm. We seek only knowledge and friendship." For 10 long minutes, nothing happened. The crew waited in tense silence. Ryan could feel sweat running down his back. Then the view screen flickered and changed. A face appeared, and everyone on the bridge went silent. She was beautiful in a way that made Ryan's breath catch. Her skin had a soft silver glow, like moonlight on water. Her eyes were large and dark, filled with intelligence that seemed ancient and knowing. When she spoke, her voice was clear and melodic, but there was power in it. "I am Queen Velsara of the Zephyrian Empire. We have watched your species for many cycles, small human. You wander through space like children learning to walk, stumbling into places you do not understand." Ryan stepped forward, making sure the Queen could see him clearly. "Your Majesty, I am Captain Ryan Brooks. We didn't mean to intrude on your territory. If you release our ship, we'll leave immediately." The Queen tilted her head slightly, studying him with those dark eyes. "You would leave? Just like that? You travel so far from your home world, and when you find something beyond your knowledge, you would simply turn around?" "I would respect your wishes," Ryan said carefully. "We're explorers, but we're not conquerors. If you want us to leave, we'll go." Something changed in the Queen's expression. Was it surprise? Interest? Ryan couldn't tell. "You are different from what our observations suggested," Velsara said. "The broadcasts we intercept from your world show violence and chaos. Wars. Destruction. Your people seem quick to fight and slow to think, yet you stand before me and speak of respect." Ryan felt his crew watching him, waiting to see what he would say. He decided to be honest. "You're right. Humans have done terrible things. We've fought each other for stupid reasons. We've hurt our own planet. But we're learning. We're trying to be better. That's why we're out here. To find new perspectives and grow beyond our mistakes." The Queen was quiet for a moment, and Ryan wondered if he had said the wrong thing. Then she smiled. Just slightly. "Courage or foolishness? I am not yet certain which you possess. But you intrigue me, Captain Ryan Brooks. I invite you to my world. Come alone to the palace on Zafara Prime. Let us speak face to face." Lisa stood up quickly. "Captain, you can't. We don't know anything about these people." "It could be a trap." The Queen's image turned to look at Lisa. "Your warrior speaks wisdom, but she does not understand. If I wished you harm, you would already be scattered atoms. I extend an invitation rarely given. Your captain will come to no harm under my protection. Ryan looked at his crew. Ben was shaking his head slightly, silently telling him not to go. Lisa looked ready to argue more. But Ryan knew this was why they came out here. To make contact. To take chances. To represent humanity when it mattered most. I accept your invitation, Your Majesty, Ryan said. The Queen nodded. You will be transported shortly. Your ship and crew will remain here. Held, but unharmed. How you conduct yourself in my presence will determine what happens next, not just to you, but to your entire species. Choose your words and actions carefully. Human. The view screen went dark. Ryan turned to his crew and saw the fear and concern on their faces. If I'm not back in 24 hours, take the ship home. Tell Earth what happened here. Tell them we found something bigger than ourselves. Ryan. Lisa said quietly, using his first name instead of his rank. Be careful. Before he could respond, the world around him dissolved into light. When his vision cleared, he was standing in a massive hall, made of crystal that caught and reflected light in impossible ways. And there, sitting on a throne that seemed to be carved from a single piece of glowing stone, was Queen Velsara, even more impressive in person than on the screen. Welcome, Captain, she said. Let us see if humanity deserves a place among the stars. Ryan tried not to stare at everything around him, but it was impossible. The palace was beyond anything he had imagined. Walls of crystal rose hundreds of feet high, and through them he could see the city outside. Towers that touched the clouds, and bridges of light connecting them. Beings moved through the halls, all with that same silver skin, though some had patterns of gold or blue that traced across their features like living tattoos. Queen Velsara rose from her throne and descended the steps toward him. She was tall, maybe 7 feet, and moved with grace that came from centuries of practice. Ryan realized with a shock that this being might be older than human civilization itself. You hide your fear well, the Queen said, stopping a few feet away. But I can sense it. Your heart beats fast. Your body temperature has risen. You are far from home, surrounded by the unknown. Yet you stand straight and meet my eyes. Tell me, how old are you, Captain? 35 years. Ryan answered. The Queen laughed, a sound like bells. A child. I have ruled this empire for 800 of your years, and I was not young when I took the throne. To me, your entire species is in its infancy, and yet you dare to reach for the stars. We're young, that's true, Ryan said. But we're also determined. We want to learn. We want to be part of something larger than ourselves. Pretty words, the Queen replied. She turned and gestured for him to follow. But words are easy. Actions tell the truth. Come. I have much to show you, and little patience for wasting time. Quote, Ryan followed her through corridors that seemed to shift and change as they walked. Sometimes the walls were solid crystal. Sometimes they became transparent, showing gardens filled with plants that glowed softly in colors he had no names for. The Queen spoke as they walked, explaining the history of her people. The Zephyrians had built an empire that spanned dozens of star systems. They were part of something called the Galactic Consortium, a group of advanced species that worked together to keep peace and share knowledge. But the Queen's tone grew serious when she talked about humanity. Many in the consortium believe your people are dangerous, she said, leading him into a vast library where walls of light held more information than Ryan could process. We have observed your world for decades. We have seen your wars, your weapons, your capacity for cruelty. Some say humanity should be contained, locked in your own system until you grow up or destroy yourselves. Ryan felt a chill run through him. And what do you believe? The Queen stopped and turned to face him. I have not decided. That is why you are here. The Zephyrian Empire holds great influence in the consortium. If I speak for humanity, others will listen. If I speak against you, Earth will remain isolated, perhaps forever. So I will test you, Captain Ryan Brooks. I will see what humans are truly made of. Before Ryan could respond, a door opened, and someone else entered the library. Ryan's breath caught again. She was younger than the Queen, but clearly related. The same silver skin. The same graceful movement. But her eyes were different, filled with curiosity and warmth, rather than the Queen's measured distance. Patterns of gold traced across her shoulders and down her arms, forming designs that seemed to shift in the light. Mother, you summoned me? Kira. This is Captain Ryan Brooks of Earth. He will be staying with us while I evaluate his species. I want you to teach him about our culture and show him the archives. You will be his guide. The woman called Kira looked at Ryan with open fascination. A human. I've studied your broadcasts, your art and music. Your stories fascinate me. You live such short lives. Yet you burn so brightly. Ryan wasn't sure how to respond to that. I'm honored to meet you. Are you the princess? I am Princess Kira Lin, chief historian of the Empire and keeper of records, she said with a small bow. Though please, just call me Kira. We will be spending much time together, I think. The Queen watched this exchange with an unreadable expression. Kira will help you understand our ways. Captain, she will also report to me on your character, your questions, your reactions to what you learn. Remember that you are always being evaluated. With that, Queen Velsara turned and left, her robes flowing behind her like liquid silver. Ryan was alone with Princess Kira in the vast library. Kira smiled at him, and it was warm and genuine. Don't let my mother frighten you too much. She seems stern, but she is fair. Come, let me show you the observation records we have of Earth. You might find them interesting. Over the next hours, Kira led Ryan through holographic displays of Earth's history, as seen from space. The Zephyrians had been watching humanity for longer than he realized. They had recordings of major events, from ancient civilizations to modern times. It was strange and humbling to see his world from an outside perspective. This is what troubles many in the consortium, Kira said, showing images of wars and destruction. Your people fight so much. Over land, over beliefs, over resources. Some species took thousands of years to move past such conflicts. You seem stuck in them. Ryan stared at the images. He couldn't deny what he was seeing. We're flawed. I know that. But we're also capable of incredible kindness. We create art and music. We help strangers. We sacrifice ourselves for others. It's not all violence. Kira touched a control, and the images changed, showing hospitals and rescue efforts, people helping each other after disasters, volunteers working to save endangered animals. I know. That is what fascinates me. You contain such contradictions, violence and compassion, destruction and creation. You live for maybe 100 years at most. Yet in that brief time, you try to leave the world better than you found it. She turned to look at him, and Ryan saw something in her eyes that surprised him. Not judgment, but genuine interest. Maybe even admiration. Tell me, Ryan, she said quietly. Why did you become an explorer? Why leave your home and venture into the unknown? Ryan thought about that. Because staying still felt like dying slowly. Because I wanted to see what was out there. Because I believed that somewhere among the stars, we might find answers to questions we didn't even know how to ask yet. Kira smiled. That is a very human answer. Impatient, curious, hopeful despite evidence that the universe might be dangerous. She paused. I think I like humans. Over the next days, Ryan and Kira spent hours together. She showed him the archives, explained the complex politics of the consortium, taught him about different alien species and their cultures. Ryan shared stories about Earth, about humanity's dreams and fears and hopes for the future. What surprised Ryan most was how easy it was to talk to Kira. Despite being from different worlds, despite the fact that she was over 150 years old and he was barely 35, they connected. She laughed at his jokes. He was amazed by her knowledge. Slowly, something was building between them. Something neither of them had expected. But not everyone was happy about the growing friendship between the human captain and the princess. High Counselor Tharx watched from the shadows as the human and the princess walked together through the royal gardens. His silver skin had darker patterns than most Zephyrians, marks of his ancient lineage. He had served on the council for 400 years, and he did not like what he was seeing. "This is a mistake," he said to the others gathered around him. "The queen grows soft in her old age. She entertains this primitive creature, allows him access to our princess, and considers speaking for his violent species before the consortium. What would you have us do?" asked Counselor Mira, her voice uncertain. "The queen has made her decision." Tharx turned his dark eyes on her. "Then, we must show her the truth. We must prove that humans cannot be trusted, that they are as dangerous as the reports suggest. We must force this Captain Brooks to reveal his true nature." "How?" another counselor asked. "By giving him an impossible choice," Tharx replied with a cold smile. "One that will prove humans are ruled by emotion and violence, not wisdom." In the gardens, Ryan was unaware of the plotting. He walked beside Kira under trees that grew crystal fruit, listening as she explained their properties. She had changed since they first met. She laughed more easily now, touched his arm when making a point, looked at him with eyes that held more than just curiosity. "Ryan," she said suddenly, stopping by a fountain that flowed upward instead of down, "can I ask you something personal? Can I ask you something personal?" "Of course. Do you have someone waiting for you? On Earth? A mate? A partner?" Ryan shook his head. "No. I've spent most of my adult life training and exploring. There wasn't time for relationships." "Why do you ask?" Kira looked away. And was that color rising in her silver cheeks? "No reason. I was just curious about human bonding customs." Before Ryan could respond, an alarm sounded across the city. It was a deep, resonating tone that made his bones vibrate. Kira's expression changed instantly, becoming serious. "Something is wrong. Come, we must return to the palace." They ran through the gardens, and when they reached the palace throne room, they found chaos. Queen Velsara stood at the center, her face dark with anger. General Mordaunt, the military commander Ryan had met briefly, was speaking urgently. "Your Majesty, we have confirmed it. 3 humans from the colony ship that was passing through Sector 7 have been captured. They are being held by what appears to be a rogue faction." Ryan's blood went cold. "What colony ship? There are other humans here?" The Queen turned to him. "Yes. A small vessel was passing through the edge of our space yesterday. We allowed it safe passage, but it seems someone has taken 3 of its crew members hostage." High Counselor Tharx stepped forward. "Your Majesty, we have received a message from the captors. They demand that Captain Brooks come to them, alone and unarmed. If he does, they will release the humans. If he refuses, or if any Zephyrian forces approach, the hostages will be executed." Ryan felt the room spin. This wasn't random. This was a setup. He looked at Tharx and saw the cold satisfaction in the counselor's eyes. Somehow, this was part of a plan to discredit humanity. "This is a trap," Kira said immediately. "Mother, you cannot allow this. They will kill him. They will kill the hostages if I do not go," Ryan said quietly. Queen Velsara studied him with those ancient eyes. "You understand what is happening here, don't you, Captain? Someone wants to prove that humans respond to threats with violence. If you go in armed and fighting, you prove them right. If you refuse to go, you prove that humans abandon their own when it is convenient. Then I'll go unarmed and peaceful, Ryan said. Just as I came here. I'll talk to them. Negotiate for the hostages' release. They will kill you, General Mordaunt said bluntly. This is clearly a plot to eliminate you and frame humanity as weak or treacherous. Ryan looked around the throne room at all the alien faces watching him. He thought about Lisa and Ben and the rest of his crew, still held on the horizon. He thought about Earth and all the people there who dreamed of reaching the stars. He thought about Kira and the way she looked at him, with hope that maybe, just maybe, humans could be different. I spent my whole life wanting to represent humanity among the stars, Ryan said slowly. I wanted to show that we deserve to be here. Well, this is my chance. I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to run. I'm going to walk in there with my head up and show them that humans don't abandon our own, and we don't respond to violence with more violence. That is suicide, Thorex said, but there was something in his voice now. Uncertainty, perhaps, as if Ryan's response wasn't what he expected. Maybe, Ryan agreed. But if I die trying to save innocent people, at least I die proving that humans have honor, that we care about life, that we're willing to sacrifice ourselves for others. The Queen was silent for a long moment. Then she spoke, her voice carrying the weight of centuries. General Mordaunt, prepare a transport. The captain will go, but have forces ready nearby. If there is treachery, I want those hostages saved. Mother. No. Kira stepped forward, her eyes bright with unshed tears. You can't send him to die. Ryan turned to her and smiled sadly. I have to go, Kira. You understand that, right? This is what it means to be human. We make stupid, brave choices because we believe they matter. Kira grabbed his hands, her silver skin warm against his. Then I'm going with you. Absolutely not, the Queen said sharply. I invoke my right as royal historian to witness events that will shape our empire's future, Kira said, her voice strong despite her fear. This moment will be recorded in our archives. I will be there to record it. The Queen and her daughter locked eyes, a battle of wills that lasted several heartbeats. Finally, Velsara nodded once, sharply. Very well. But you will not interfere, Kira. You will only observe. Is that understood? Quote, yes, Mother. Ryan wanted to argue, wanted to tell Kira to stay safe in the palace. But he saw the determination in her eyes and knew it would be pointless. Besides, he realized with surprise, he was glad he wouldn't be facing this alone. An hour later, Ryan stood at the entrance to an abandoned facility on the outskirts of the city. Kira stood beside him, and though she tried to hide it, he could see she was afraid. He reached out and squeezed her hand once, quickly. Whatever happens, he said. Thank you for believing in me. Come back alive, she whispered. Please. Then Ryan walked through the doors into darkness, unarmed and uncertain, but determined to prove that humanity deserved its place among the stars. Behind him, Princess Kira Lin watched, her heart pounding, as the human who had somehow become important to her disappeared into danger, and in the shadows, High Counselor Thorex watched his plan unfold. Confident that before the night was over, the human captain would reveal his species' true nature. One way or another, this would end with humanity condemned, but Thorex had made one critical mistake. He had underestimated what humans would do for those they cared about. And he had underestimated the princess who loved her people enough to risk everything for what she believed was right. Inside the abandoned facility, Ryan found the 3 human hostages tied to chairs in a large, empty room. They looked terrified but unharmed. Standing around them were 4 Zephyrians in dark clothing, their faces covered. Ryan stopped in the doorway, hands visible and empty. I'm Captain Ryan Brooks, he said clearly. I'm here to negotiate for the release of these people. One of the masked Zephyrians stepped forward. You came alone and unarmed, as instructed. Foolish human. Now you will all die, and your species will be marked as weak and unworthy. Or, A new voice said from behind the masked figures, "You will be arrested for kidnapping, conspiracy, and treason." Princess Kira stepped out of the shadows, but she wasn't alone. General Mordan and a dozen soldiers appeared, surrounding the masked Zephyrians. The hostage-takers hadn't expected this. They had been watching for an attack from outside, not from someone already inside. "You said you would only observe," Ryan said to Kira, unable to hide his smile. "I observed that you were walking into a trap," Kira replied. "I made a command decision as a member of the royal family. These conspirators are under arrest." The masked Zephyrians were quickly disarmed and restrained. When their masks were removed, Ryan recognized one of them as an aide who worked for High Counselor Tharex. General Mordan's expression grew dark as he saw this. "The council will hear of this," the general said grimly. Back at the palace, Tharex was brought before Queen Velsara. The evidence was clear. He had organized the kidnapping to force Ryan into an impossible situation, planning to kill everyone involved and blame humanity for the violence. His goal was to prevent the Zephyrians from sponsoring Earth's entry into the consortium. The Queen's anger was cold and terrible. "You have betrayed your oath, your people, and your honor. You will be removed from the council and exiled." Tharex showed no remorse. "I did what was necessary. These humans are dangerous. Everything I have done was to protect our empire." "You have protected nothing," the Queen replied. "You have only revealed your own fear and prejudice. Take him away." After Tharex was removed, the Queen called Ryan to her private chambers. He went nervously, unsure what to expect. When he entered, he found her standing by a window that overlooked the city, her back to him. "You continue to surprise me, Captain," she said without turning. "At every step, when given the chance to prove the worst about humanity, you instead show restraint, courage, and honor." "I just did what felt right," Ryan said. "That is precisely my point." Now, she turned to face him, and her expression was softer than he had ever seen it. "You do not calculate the political advantage of every action. You do not scheme and plot. You simply act according to your values, even when it puts you at risk. It is refreshing. And rare." She walked closer to him, studying his face. "I have made my decision. I will call for a grand assembly of the consortium. I will speak in favor of humanity being granted probationary membership, with the Zephyrian Empire as your sponsors." Ryan felt his heart leap. "Your Majesty, I don't know what to say." "Thank you." "Do not thank me yet," she said. "The assembly will not be easy. Many species will oppose this. You will need to speak for your people, to defend them before the most powerful beings in the galaxy." "Are you prepared for that?" "I have to be," Ryan said. "It's why I'm here." The Queen smiled slightly. "Yes, it is." She paused, and something changed in her expression. She looked at him, not as a queen studying a specimen, but as a woman, seeing a man. "You know, in another life, in another time, I might have found you quite fascinating myself, Captain Ryan Brooks." Ryan blinked, not sure he had heard correctly. "Your Majesty? I am old, Ryan. So old. I have seen civilizations rise and fall. I have outlived friends, allies, even enemies. The burden of immortality is that everyone around you is temporary." She reached out and touched his face gently, almost sadly. "You burn so brightly, you humans. Like stars that blaze hot and fast. I could watch your light, even admire it. But I am too old for you, human. We are in different stages of existence." She let her hand fall away and stepped back. "But my daughter awaits you." Ryan's eyes widened. "Kira? She cares for you. Even I can see that, and I am not known for my sentimentality. She is young by our standards, only a century and a half. She still sees wonder in the universe. She still believes in possibilities." The Queen's voice grew softer. "She needs someone who can match her enthusiasm, her hope, someone who can show her that the future doesn't have to be like the past." "I care about her too," Ryan admitted. "But I'm human. She's Zephyrian. Is that even possible? Nothing like it has ever been done before, the queen said. But that is not a reason to avoid it. My daughter deserves happiness, and if she has chosen you, then I will not stand in her way. But first, you must prove to the consortium that humanity deserves its place. If they reject your people, you will return to Earth, and Kira will remain here. Do you understand? Yes, Your Majesty. Then prepare yourself. The Grand Assembly convenes in 3 days. Those 3 days passed in a blur. Kira helped Ryan prepare, teaching him about the different species he would face, their cultures and prejudices. They worked long hours, but they also found moments alone, walking in gardens, talking about dreams and fears and the strange connection growing between them. Are you afraid? Kira asked the night before the assembly. Terrified, Ryan admitted. I'm one man trying to speak for billions. What if I fail? What if I say the wrong thing and doom Earth to isolation? Kira took his hand. You won't fail. You'll speak from the heart, like you always do, and they will see what I see, what my mother sees. A species that deserves a chance. The day of the Grand Assembly arrived. Ryan stood in a massive chamber that could hold thousands. Around him were representatives from dozens of alien species. Some were humanoid, others were so strange he couldn't even guess at their biology. All of them were watching him with varying degrees of suspicion and curiosity. Queen Velsara sat at the head of the chamber on a throne of light. Beside her was Princess Kira, formally dressed in robes of gold and silver. When Ryan's eyes met hers, she gave him a small nod of encouragement. A being that looked like living crystal spoke first. We are here to decide the fate of the species known as humanity. Queen Velsara has proposed they be granted probationary status under Zephyrian sponsorship. Many of us believe this is a mistake. Humans are violent, unstable, and dangerous. Why should we welcome them? Another voice. This one, from a creature covered in scales and feathers. Their world is dying because of their own actions. They wage wars, constantly. They cannot even achieve peace among themselves. How can we trust them with the knowledge and power of the consortium? On and on it went, species after species listing humanity's failures and crimes. Ryan felt each accusation like a physical blow. How could he argue against things that were true? Finally, Queen Velsara raised her hand. The human captain will now speak in defense of his people. Ryan stood and walked to the center of the chamber. Every eye in the room fixed on him. He took a deep breath and began to speak. Ryan looked around the massive chamber, at all the alien faces, watching him with judgment and suspicion. His mouth was dry, his hands were shaking slightly, but he forced himself to stand straight and speak clearly. Everything you've said about humanity is true, he began, and he heard surprised murmurs ripple through the assembly. We have waged wars. We have damaged our planet. We have done terrible things to each other. I'm not going to stand here and lie to you or make excuses. Those are facts. He paused, gathering his thoughts. But let me tell you something else that's true. Humans live maybe 80 or 90 years if we're lucky. Some of you here have lived for centuries, maybe thousands of years. You have all the time in the world to learn from mistakes, to change slowly and carefully. We don't have that luxury. Ryan started walking slowly around the chamber as he spoke. When a human child is born, they have maybe 30,000 days to figure out who they are, what they believe in, and what they'll leave behind when they die. That's it, 30,000 days to make a difference. So yes, we're impatient. Yes, we make mistakes. Yes, we rush into things without thinking them through completely. But do you know why? He stopped and looked up at the alien representatives. Because we don't have time to wait. Every single human knows they're going to die. We feel it every day. That ticking clock. So when we see something wrong, we want to fix it now. When we see injustice, we fight it now. When we dream of reaching the stars, We build rockets now, even if they explode on the launch pad, because tomorrow isn't guaranteed for us. A being made of flowing energy spoke, its voice like wind chimes. But this impatience makes you dangerous. You act without wisdom. Maybe, Ryan agreed. Or maybe it gives us perspective that longer-lived species lose. You talk about us damaging our planet. You're right. We did. But you know what happened when we realized what we were doing? Millions of humans changed their entire way of life to try to fix it. Young people changed careers to work on solutions. Parents taught their children to do better. Businesses were transformed. Governments were pressured to act. All within a few decades. He looked around the chamber again. How long did it take your species to make changes like that? Centuries? Millennia? Humans changed in less than 2 generations because we knew we didn't have time to waste. Princess Kira was leaning forward in her seat now, her eyes shining as she listened. Queen Velsara's expression remained neutral. But Ryan thought he saw approval in her ancient eyes. You say we wage wars constantly, Ryan continued. That's true too. But let me ask you something. Do you know what the most popular stories are on Earth right now? Stories about unity, about different people coming together to face challenges, about setting aside differences to protect each other. Our entertainment, our art, our music, almost all of it is about connection and hope despite our problems. He felt his voice growing stronger, more passionate. We know we're flawed. We know we have so much to learn. That's exactly why we're reaching out to you. We came to the stars not because we think we have all the answers, but because we know we don't. We came looking for teachers, for friends, for perspectives beyond our own. We came because we want to be better than we are. A reptilian being with multiple eyes spoke, its voice harsh. Pretty words, human. But actions matter more than words. What proof do we have that you would honor the responsibilities of consortium membership? Ryan thought about that. What proof do you need? I walked unarmed into what I knew was a trap to save 3 people I'd never met. Princess Kira here can tell you about the humans who volunteer to help strangers in disasters. About the doctors who go to dangerous places to heal people they'll never see again. About the parents who sacrifice everything so their children can have better lives. He spread his hands wide. We're not perfect. We never will be. But we try. Every single day, billions of humans wake up and try to be a little bit better than they were yesterday. We fail a lot. We make mistakes, but we keep trying because that's what it means to be human. We never give up hope that tomorrow can be better than today. The chamber fell silent. Ryan could hear his own heartbeat in his ears. Then Princess Kira stood. If I may speak, honored assembly. She waited for Queen Velsara's nod, then continued. I have studied humanity extensively. I have spent time with Captain Brooks, and I believe that what makes humans dangerous is exactly what makes them valuable. They do not accept the status quo. They do not wait for problems to solve themselves. They push forward, always reaching, always hoping, always trying. She looked at Ryan, and her voice grew softer. Humans remind us what it is like to be young, to see the universe with fresh eyes. They challenge old assumptions. They ask questions we stopped asking centuries ago. They make us remember why we created the consortium in the first place, to bring different perspectives together and learn from each other. Queen Velsara stood then, her presence commanding the attention of every being in the chamber. The assembly will now vote. But before you do, hear my words. I have lived long enough to see species rise and fall. I have seen the patterns of the cosmos repeat themselves again and again. And I tell you this, humanity is at a crossroads. We can guide them toward wisdom and cooperation, or we can isolate them and let fear and suspicion harden into something dark. She looked directly at Ryan. This human captain has shown me that his species is capable of growth, of sacrifice, of honor. They are rough and unpolished. Yes, But diamonds start as rough stones. It is pressure and time that create beauty. The Queen's eyes swept across the assembly. I will not vote on this matter. I have made my position clear by allowing this discussion to happen. But I will say this. The choice you make today will define not just humanity's future, but our own. Will we be a consortium that welcomes new perspectives and takes chances on potential? Or will we be a club of ancient species, so comfortable in our ways that we reject anything that challenges us? The vote was called. Ryan watched as lights appeared above each representative, showing their choice. Green for approval, red for rejection. For long minutes, the lights flickered and changed as delegates debated and reconsidered. The chamber filled with alien languages, argument, and discussion, flowing like water around rocks. Finally, the vote was complete. Ryan's chest felt tight as the results were tallied. It was close, painfully close. But when the final count appeared, green lights outnumbered red by a small margin. Humanity had been accepted. Probationary status, with many conditions and requirements, but accepted nonetheless. Ryan felt his knees go weak. He had done it. Earth would join the galactic community. His species had a chance to learn and grow among the stars. Kira rushed down from the platform and threw her arms around him, not caring about protocol or propriety. You did it, she whispered. I knew you could. Later that night, Ryan stood with Kira on a balcony overlooking the city. The celebrations had died down. The other delegates had departed, and it was just the two of them under alien stars. What happens now? Kira asked. I don't know, Ryan admitted. My crew will need to go back to Earth with the news. We'll need to establish formal diplomatic channels, set up cultural exchange programs. There's so much work to do. And you? Kira asked quietly. Will you go back to Earth too? Ryan looked at her. At this being from another world who had become so important to him. Your mother offered me a position as humanity's permanent ambassador here. She said you would be my counterpart, helping to bridge our two cultures. And what did you tell her? I said I needed to think about it. It would mean leaving Earth behind, living here permanently, choosing a life among aliens instead of among my own people. He took her hand gently. But I've realized something these past weeks. Home isn't just a place. It's where you find purpose, where you find connection, where you find people who matter to you. Kira's eyes were bright. Are you saying what I think you're saying? I'm saying that when I'm with you, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. You challenge me. You teach me. You make me want to be better than I am. Ryan smiled. Ryan? Besides, someone needs to stay here and make sure humans and Zephyrians learn to understand each other. Might as well be me. Might as well be us, Kira corrected softly. They stood together in silence for a moment, and then Ryan leaned in and kissed her. It was strange and wonderful, this connection between two beings from different worlds. But it felt right. Far above them, in her private chambers, Queen Velsara watched through a window and smiled. She had been right. Her daughter had needed someone who could remind her that the universe was still full of possibilities. And the human captain had needed someone who could show him that reaching for the stars meant more than just traveling through space. In the days that followed, Ryan's crew prepared to return to Earth with news that would change everything. Lisa hugged him goodbye, tears in her eyes. You're really staying? I am, Ryan confirmed. Earth needs someone here. Lisa. Someone who understands both sides. Someone who can help us avoid making stupid mistakes as we join the galactic community. And it has nothing to do with the beautiful alien princess? Lisa teased through her tears. Ryan laughed. Well. Ben Carter shook his hand firmly. Take care of yourself, Captain. And take care of them, too. Show the galaxy what humans are capable of. As the horizon departed for Earth, Ryan stood with Kira and watched it go. He felt a pang of sadness, watching his old life sail away into the stars. But when Kira squeezed his hand, he knew he had made the right choice. "Ready to start your new life?" she asked. "With you?" "Absolutely." Together, the human and the alien princess walked back into the palace, ready to build a bridge between worlds, ready to face whatever challenges came next. Above them, the stars shone bright with infinite possibilities. And somewhere among them, Earth was waking up to discover they were no longer alone in the universe. And that was just the beginning.